Thank you for joining us again on our tour through the Bible. And today we're in Berea, and this actual site that we're at has a Jewish synagogue. This Jewish synagogue is not original, obviously, to the time of Paul, but it's believed that it was built on the spot where Paul came. And as you know, as Paul traveled around, he quite often stopped first in the synagogues to preach. So I'm going to look at the devotional today, and we're going to look at Acts 17, verses 10 through 14. We notice that Paul and Silas came down from Thessalonica to Berea. And the reason they did that was because they were getting persecuted in Thessalonica. So they fled down here to Berea. When we get to verse 11 of 17, probably one of the best known verses where it says that the Bereans searched the scriptures daily. So one of the things that tells me was the Old Testament and the New Testament are connected, because obviously we find this in the New Testament. And what did they have for the scriptures? The Old Testament. So what they were doing is they were looking at what Paul was saying, that Jesus is the Messiah and fulfills the prophecies of the Old Testament. So they wanted to know, where are these prophecies? So they searched back in Daniel and many Zechariah and many of the other Old Testament prophets to see if what Paul was saying, that this is Messiah, was truly it. That speaks to us in that we should be searching the scriptures daily as well. Now, obviously, we know that Jesus is the Messiah, so we should be searching the scriptures to tell us what we can expect and what we can look for signs as to the second coming. It also tells us that in verse 11, it says that they examined the scriptures. This is not the same Greek word that John used when he told us to search the scriptures. This is the only time word was used in the New Testament. And it's a searching, like a judicial inquiry, like you're doing an investigation. You're not just out of curiosity, but you're trying to find if certain evidence is actually true. And those are the words that Luke used in the book of Acts. And it says in verse 12 that both men and women got saved. It also mentioned that these are prominent people. Because these are prominent people, these are people that are educated. They're not superstitious people. They're not ignorant people. They're people of wealth and influence that were not easy to fool. And both men and women were understanding from Paul who Christ was. And in verse 13, what happens was the Thessalonians heard that Paul had come to Berea. So what they did is they sent down some rabble-rousers to continue to dog Paul and chase him out of Berea. And so what had happened was Paul left Berea, went to the coast, caught a ship, and went to Athens. And then in Athens, while he went to Athens, he left Paul and Silas here. So what does this tell us today? What do we take out of this account in Scriptures? One of the things that it tells me is that Paul was being persecuted. He was having difficult times. Are you having difficult times in your life today? Paul used it to his advantage. What happened? There was churches founded in Thessaloniki. There was churches founded here in Berea. And then as he went to Athens, he met Dionysius the Areopagite, and churches were founded in Athens. So because of the persecution, because of what many people would say, oh, this is horrible, why are we going through all these trials? If you allow, God can use that to His glory and honor. And that's what I find in the Scriptures here in Berea. So thank you for joining me on another tour through the Bible, and until we see you again, God bless you.